Hello, YouTube. Okay, so I found this cool little code snippet online because I was just trying to test something, like figure something out. And I actually, for once in my life, I'm just kidding, but I actually did find a very helpful solution. And it's actually impressive. And I just thought I'd share it with you. That way you don't have to have a visual struggle to figure it out. So, and I was doing a Windows Forms app when I was testing this, so I'm just gonna do the same thing. This will work with this or like this or this. Well, not this actually, because it can't really. Well, probably actually. I don't know, but you'd have to figure out some way to execute it. It's better with this or this because the code immediately executes when you. Because well, for this, it's just a file that's, you know, like brought in or something that's used. It's not actually a file that's executed. Hmm. It's executed in a way, but it's not actually like you don't double click to run it, unlike with these. Um, anyways, I'm just gonna call this embedded. Yeah, wait. There. So, like the name here says, even though, yes, I know it's a long name, I found a solution online for, say you have multiple, I'm just gonna, say you have multiple libraries in your program, but you don't want them to take up space, like, as individual files on the computer. You just want them all to be in here. And you just want it to be the single application by itself. Well, figured out a way to get that to work. I'm just going to show you the thing I found first before I actually show you the code. That way you can, see how I found it. It took a while. I'm not even sure how I found this from the search results, but this is essentially the code that makes it work. I found a better way to make it work. It's quicker, and it doesn't require a bunch of if statements. It's basically, but unfortunately, you are going to have it all in one place for this, because that's just how the code I thought of to make it work better. That's just how it works. That's just how it is. So I'm gonna call this folder libraries, because I just want it to be organized. I'm gonna add, no, not a new folder. I want an existing item. Okay, this is just a bunch of random stuff I have on my computer. I'm gonna do that. This is something I made for Windows Forms. If you want to have a custom looking form, like if you want to have this, but where is it? If you want it to just want it to be like this, that's what I made. That's why I made this. Anyways, in order for these to work how you want them to, you're gonna have to set them to embedded resource. But just because you add them here doesn't mean they're gonna work in this. You have to, the program has to know, whoops, and I already have it here to make it easier. You would click browse and then find the files on your computer. Anyways, you want to actually reference them in your project so that, the program knows what you're using. And one last thing before we actually start the code itself. Make sure the IDE you're working in does not copy the files onto your device. All you want is for it to just have the program reference them, because you're going to get them from here, not from the device. Even though it is technically on the device, you're not going to get them from the files themselves. You're going to get them from the information embedded into the program. So how you do this is, oh, actually, this is going to be how I show you that it works. We actually have to go to the program. This is actually the same class that the console application uses, but for this, but for Windows Forms thing, it runs it through here, like the form. So this is so if you're normally used to just working with this part is how this even comes up when you run the program. Anyways, go right on this line in the program file. Enter 3 times. Go to the center line here. This is just to make it more easily readable. And by that I mean so you can more easily find it. Now type app domain, current domain, assembly resolve plus equals. Now you could just type, you know, the name of the method that executes the code that resolves it, but this is just a habit I have where I actually do like the delegate part itself and then the thing, because it's just something I like to do, even though it's probably not as clean. I just like doing it. And then for the actual function or event function that resolves the, you know, errors, because the program can't find it on the actual device, so we have to tell it, like we have to give it the assembly by loading it through the stuff here that's embedded. You have to reference this namespace in order to access this thing right here, and then you have to I'm just going to copy and paste because I'm too lazy to type it. So what you typed here is what has to be here, because that is what so when it notices that the stuff is not on the device, they're not in the individual files, it's going to execute this. Well, not actually this. You have to specify a method, not the actual, like, you know, like this part, not with the parentheses. Just specify the name, and it executes it. Or something. I'm bad at explaining code, I know. But for this part, you have to actually do a function or method structure. That way it can execute it correctly. And you do object sender, and then resolve, then argc. And I'm going to show you real quick. Watch. You do not need the actual... See? It's the same code, either way, but I just like to do this because it looks nicer to me. And also that way I know what kind of event it is. I just like doing it, and it also helps me understand what kind of event I'm working with. That's the main but second reason why I do that. Helps me understand what kind of event I'm working with. Anyways, now, in order to load the assembly, that's what we're loading from this. Don't look at that. This thing, the thing within this file is an assembly. That's what we're loading. It's all the same programming language, so easy. And obviously, why wouldn't I mix it? It just makes sense. Now we're not gonna do like all the code, you know, just like that. No, we're gonna make it better we're gonna make it easy. And by easy, I mean use the less memory on the computer by doing this. By the way, this code right here, it gets the it gets the stream that contains the information for this. And we have to get this code, this all here is an assembly in itself. We're just referencing another assembly to run this assembly. We have to get the resource stream, and here's the part that makes it work with multiple embedded libraries. Here's the part that makes it actually work with not just a single one. Type. Now you gotta type, you know. Oh god, why did I make the name long? Okay. You gotta type the, you would type this, but I'm just gonna make it all the same. I'm just gonna keep it all like this because, I mean, you would change it by going here and then changing that. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep it all the same because That's just how I'm gonna do it. You would type the super long namespace, then the folder. If you even chose to do one, I'd recommend doing it so you know where they all are. Then type. Now, don't type anything else yet. We're actually going to add a $sign here first. That way we can... It's like string.format, but shorter. And easier to use. We're going to do e.name.split, parentheses, apostrophe, comma, square bracket 0. This splits the string so it gives us a string. We split it by each comma, but the name of the resource we want is at the very front. So we have to turn it. We have to split the string, then get the very first string from the split string. It sounds weird, but that's what it's doing. And then go to this very end curly brace, type .dll, because it's a DLL file that's embedded in the program. And now, shift enter, and boom, that happens, because that way you don't have to type the actual brackets. Okay, now create a byte buffer, or a byte array. I'm going to call this DLL data because it's the data that is the DLL itself. I'll just call it data because it sounds fancy. Instantiate the array and make its length the same as the length of the stream. This is essentially how many bytes are in the stream, or want to make the buffer the same size because that way we can actually get the entire DLL within that little buffer. Now type s.read. Apparently, and I don't even understand the documentation either. If you understand code very well, then you'll probably understand it very well, but I don't, because it just sounds confusing. Apparently this reads the information. It reads the stream's buffer information or whatever into the byte buffer. That makes no sense to me. You're just taking the information and just storing. You're just like looking at the information and storing it in your brain is how a person reads. I don't understand how this takes the information from like a stream and puts it into like I feel like that's, reading and writing. But this is just reading. It makes no sense. You're like reading it into... No, that makes no sense. It should just say copy to or something like that. That makes more sense. Not read. Anyways, enough of my annoying bickering. Now, just type that. I tabbed because Visual Studio 2022 has that feature. It tries to predict what your code is what you're gonna type next, and it works most of the time for me. And this is all you need. Yes, this is all you need for it to work. Okay, now let's go to the form code. Now, I'm gonna do some code that it's actually code I made myself. I'm probably mentioned that for this one. I'm pretty sure I did. I forgot though. We gotta go up here. We gotta bring a picture box. Click. Set it to 32 by 32. Nice. Okay. Picture box 1.image equals bitmaps.instance. And then 32 because that's the same size as the picture box. Color. Okay, delete because there. Make it a black X. Yes, we're doing an X. Well, it's close because on a computer, you would close a window by clicking the X at the top. And then we're going to add something from this library, not this one, from this one. See, this is where the multiple assembly part comes in. We're going to do new text editor control. It's just a fancy text editor is all it is. I'm gonna do location equals new point. I'm gonna put it 10 pixels to the left and 10 pixels down on the screen relative to the window. Does not go all the way up here. It's the position of the window, and then 10 pixels to the right and down from that. Then we're going to set size to 375, 325. This just gives you some area to type in, even though we're not actually going to type in it. Well, actually, I'll type in it a little bit just to show you that it actually works. And if I start, ta-da, and watch, I'll like, hold on, let me just display everything. I'll go to the debug, and watch. If I run this, so this control, so this X, I'm only able to, this is just like a quick, little image created, like generated by this library, and this control comes specifically from this. If I didn't have this, I wouldn't have this. So if I type, see, I didn't actually change anything other than location and size. And for this X, it doesn't actually do anything, it's just an image. You have to actually add the functionality, like the interaction events. But see? And all we have is the program. And it's running with this stuff. Isn't that incredible? Wow. And here's my explanation based off my understanding of how it works. So, this is called when it can't find the file, right? This has a parameter called name. But, like I said, it's like a whole long string. It's not just the name here. It has this minus the .dll and then a whole bunch of other information. What this does here is it only gets the name of the assembly in which we need to, quote-unquote, resolve. It doesn't get anything else but the assembly we're trying to resolve, or what we're trying to fix. Now, if we specified one specific type, for instance, if I comment out this part, crap, I forgot it's a string. Let me just, 0. Wait, no, string.empty, there we go. Let me just real quickly, put an empty string in there as a placeholder. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the library that provides that X. Watch what happens if I try to start it. Oh no, it wasn't able to find the library that provides the editor, because we only resolved this library, the error with this library, not the other. But if we change all that, and reload it, wow, it works, because it's only resolving the assembly that is required to be resolved, not one specific one. Wow, isn't that crazy? Because here's the thing. We resolve the assembly by getting the information from the embedded resource, but we have to specify which resource we're collecting the information from, and we're specifying the resource based off of the assembly that we need to resolve, which is right here. Wow, I hope I explained that enough for you to understand. Hopefully I did, because I don't know how else to explain it. Yay. Anyways, that's all I have to show you. Time for the awkward goodbye part of the video. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like if it helped, dislike if it didn't. I don't know why else you would be watching this video other than to help you understand something. I will have the link to that Stack Overflow post in the description so you can see it if you want, instead of having to follow this tutorial I made that's supposed to be simple and easy to understand. Probably not, just simple to follow. It would help a lot if you subscribe. Or you can make me, or you can just hate me and not subscribe. and bye. Awkward part of the video is now done. Hope you have a good day or night, whichever it is for you.